All right, guys, what I want to do today is make a schedule prediction, wins and losses, best case, worst case scenario. We got a heavy home schedule this year. I think that's going to play to our advantage more than people are realizing. Having 80 to 90,000 fans in the swamp is good for 7 to 10 points. On paper, we are more talented than Utah. Better recruiting classes, better, just better talent. They haven't seen Billy, new coach, new schematics. Obviously, they'll be planning for us just like we will for them all summer long. So we're going to be ready for these guys when they come down to the swamp. We're going to be in our home, in our environment. They got to travel all the way across the country. I see us upsetting them and getting a first big W and starting the year off with a lot of momentum and making a statement in Billy's first inaugural season. I see us beating Utah. I see that as a win. Um, so again, beating Utah for going 1-0 to start the season. Kentucky's next up on the schedule. I know Kentucky's gotten a couple wins here in the last few years. They've all been nail biters in really close games, even with the poor coaching and play calling and all that. We're still more talented than Kentucky, recruiting class wise and on paper. I do think that this year we will beat Kentucky. We're playing their style of offense now, and I think we're going to be throwing the ball, more so than what they're going to be expecting in that game. And I think Billy will save a little bit in the bag for Kentucky because he knows Florida fans don't want to lose that game after how bad we've been rubbed wrong with Mullen and co. Coming out and losing to Kentucky twice. So that one's going to be a big one, and I think we get the W there, guys. USF, that's an easy W right there. I'm not even going to get into that. I think we beat University of South Florida, which to me, a lot of people don't think it because they don't give them the respect. But USF's had some good years. They've had some good seasons, put some players in the NFL. They had the quarterback Flowers there that one year. I just got a lot of respect for those schools, even UCF. Beating them to me is still a quality win, so I think we get the W there. And here's where it gets a little hairy, guys. So Gators 3-0 to start the year. I know you aren't gonna like this, but first year head coach, playing Tennessee. Hupel's been there for a couple seasons now. He's got a system in. Recruiting there hasn't been terrible. We're actually pretty evenly matched. We might have a slight edge in talent level. I know it's been back and forth between us and recruiting. So anyway, that's an even match on paper. Again, a coach that's been there against a new coach. That's a really good offense, guys. It was always really good at UCF. It was really good last year. It came on strong as the year went on. Hendon Hooker's a stud at quarterback. I actually really liked the kid. I thought he did really good against us last year. It was a tough game. He made some plays. I think the kid's going to have a really good season. I think Tennessee's actually going to have a good year. Potentially could finish second or third in the SEC East. I hate Tennessee, and we've dominated them for so long. It's one of the wins you usually chalk up. But that's another thing like Kentucky. We've always chalked that up as a W. I think Tennessee gets us this year. I think this is a year we might lose that Tennessee game and go 3-1. And I know that one hurts, guys. It hurts me even to admit that. But I'm trying to be realistic here with wins and losses in the first year. 3-1 after the Tennessee game. You got Eastern Washington after that, which is a good recovery game after that tough start to the season. Definitely a W there, Eastern Washington. And I think they've even had some, it's been a while. I think they've been a putrid team for a long time. But they've had a couple winning seasons. Had some good quarterback play in the past. So, anyway, I think we get the W there. Eastern Washington's a win. So, that's 4-1. That's a hell of a great start, guys, to the season. You cannot ask for much more than that from Billy and Co. to start the year. So there you go, 4-1, guys. And this is still my best case scenario list. So 4-1 on that. And then you've got you got Missouri next, guys. I know that one's been a tricky game for Florida over the years. They've got Blaylock at quarterback. I do think the Gators get the W here. I think we beat Missouri this year. I think schematically we haven't matched up well with Missouri in the past, but with Billy and the defense they run, the offense, I actually think we stack up really well against them. So I like Florida to get the W against Missouri this year. So there you go, 5-1 guys, still looking good here. Here's where it gets tricky again. You got LSU after that. It's an emotional game against Missouri. I really think after that win, going 5-1, the Gators are going to be a little beat up here. And it's going to get a little tough. You got LSU. I called it a toss-up game. Um, I think that we beat LSU. I actually do. And Brian Kelly's a first-year head coach at LSU. I know he's been in Division One, but he's still got to implement a system and his style of play. I don't like the talent at LSU. They lost a ton of talent. We match up well. I actually think we may have the edge, but again, we're going to be beat up coming into this midway through the year. We're thin on depth on the roster in a lot of places. Few injuries here, and this could be a loss, but I'm predicting a win as of now on best case scenario. So again, the next two games, I'm thinking W's. That LSU game is going to be super emotional, very physically draining. We're going to be beat up. I think we got Georgia next, guys, and that's going to be a loss. We all can pencil that down. We know we ain't beating Georgia next year. We're a couple years away maybe from that one. Next game is Texas A&M. I see that one as a loss too. So back-to-back losses here, guys, and then we get a little bit of a reset. You got South Carolina next. I think we're going to want the revenge for last year. I do believe we'll get the W here. Look for South Carolina to be a decent team, be a real chippy team that comes in and gives some other teams hell this year. But I do think we beat South Carolina and get revenge from last year's loss. Vanderbilt, chalk it up. That's a win. That's a W. Vanderbilt's been tough in the past a few times here and there. This ain't that Vanderbilt. They've just been atrocious. They honestly don't even need to be in the SEC anymore. They need to find a new conference, and we need to find somebody better, more solid to replace them because they can't hold up, guys. It's not even an SEC school. They're more worried about education than football. And their recruiting is like literally probably as good as Billy Napier's recruiting at Louisiana when he was coaching there. That's how bad it is. I just don't even think it's fair. So that's a W, automatic. And then you got FSU to end the season. So FSU is going to be a really tough game. It's probably going to be a really close, grinded out game all the way to the end like last year. I do think it'll be a better product that we see on the field, though. But, guys, I think we'll beat FSU again and continue that dominance with 4 years straight. Get a win over our biggest rival besides Georgia in year one of Billy Napier for the Gators to go 9-3. So I'm predicting 9-3 as our best case scenario. Definitely don't think we're going to have less than 3 losses. I just don't see it. There's a lot of issues there with depth. Injuries are going to pop up. That's a part of every football season. We lose a quarterback, guys, and that 9-3 is out of the question. All right, so here's worst case scenario, and this is even if we lost, let's say, Anthony Richardson, and we're a little banged up. Defensive line's the one that scares me the most. SEC is a trenches league, so if we get banged up there, I mean, this worst case scenario could just go out the window. We might have a record like last year or worse. But my best and worst case scenario, I think are pretty realistic. So worst case for the Florida Gators, guys, I'm still going a W. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm going a loss with Utah to start the season. They are highly ranked and respected for a reason. If you're looking at the other side of that, the returning starters and everything. So that one in worst case scenario is definitely a loss. Start the year 0-1. Then you got Kentucky. I'm picking a W. USFW. So 2-1 to start the year. Still not a bad start. Still looking at a loss at Tennessee, so go 2-2. Eastern Washington's a W. That's 3-2. Missouri, picking a loss there just because of the past history of Missouri. Then you have, toss up LSU. Still picking the W there. A loss at Georgia. A loss at Texas A&M. Possibly a loss with South Carolina. And then Vandy a win, FSU a win. So that would be 7-5, guys. So worst case scenario, I'm thinking 7-5. I don't think we finished the year worse than that. So that would be a disappointing season, I feel like, to a lot of Gator fans. But I don't think it would be so bad that it would get us completely down on Billy. I actually feel like even if we finish 7-5, there's some good wins in there. It depends on what we see on the field. If you finish 7-5, you're gonna have to show some progress, show a lot of heart, a lot of passion between the players, them giving it their all, a lot of close toss-up games, a lot of games decided by 7 points or less. Just showing that we have momentum going into the next season. Showing that we're competitive in every game, not getting blown out. I think fans would still accept that and take that as a win as our first year with Billy. So that's what I'm thinking, guys. I'm just putting my thoughts out there on the schedule. Love to hear you guys' feedback. We're going to get more in depth on these opponents later on. But for right now, that's my best and worst case scenario for the Florida Gators inaugural season with Billy Napier.